but welcome to the show, Thor. Really pleased to have you on. I was very excited when you said that you would join me because you've got quite the reputation within Databricks. I've been recommended to you by a number of people, so feel very privileged to have you on as a guest. So thanks for your time, Thor. I thought it'd be really interesting just to start a little bit of a background into yourself and kind of your journey within Databricks. And then what we're going to cover off today is all around sort of AI and LLM readiness. And then off the back of that, Thor, what we're looking to try and do is create content that we can then share with our network, share with the community around helping organizations to become ready for this next wave of evolution that we're going through. So if you don't mind, if you could just give an introduction, tell me a little bit about yourself and the journey so far, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So originally born in Denmark, studied astrophysics, but pivoted into IT afterwards. I actually got headhunted to New York initially, where I built probably one of the world's first chatbots. It was a virtual sales agent way before anything that was actually AI. So we did an ontology and programmed it like using a database, but did natural language processing, had a discussion with customers on various things they wanted to sell, so it would be laptops, and it was actually deployed in the year 2000, way back, on CNET and AOL. So that was really cool. After that, I sort of moved into a couple of us from that company called Soliloquy. Decided to go and create our own platform for artificial intelligence called Cyclone, and it's basically a real-time platform for developing interactive AI applications. Again, it was before AI really became a big thing, but it was it did human interaction for robotics. It was actually deployed on Honda's Asimo robot. They bought a lifetime license for this as a learning system for their robot, which was very, very cool. So in amongst all of that, I then had day jobs as well. So I worked for a telco. I worked for a company developing miniature covert surveillance, audio, video, data for government agencies around the world. So that was very cool. And then I kind of pivoted into sort of data and looking at not just what AI could do in terms of human interaction, but also starting to realize that data was really the key. With more data, you could create fantastically intelligent AI applications. So I joined World Programming in 2014, where we were sort of dragging people out of the world of mainframes into the modern world of cloud. And then in 2019, I then joined Databricks as a solutions architect. And this was really I think the world was ready. The technology was ready at the time. So you had the massive scalability of cloud, both in terms of very, very low cost storage, but also very, very low cost and scalable processing. And during my 6.5 years with Databricks, we have seen a phenomenal amount of customers take amazing value from their data, both in terms of just operationalizing regular, normal, everyday data, but also preparing and getting ready for the evolution that we've seen over the last 3 years, where Gen AI has really accelerated what customers are able to do with their data. We've always, throughout my life at Databricks, talked about democratizing data. Gen AI is the ultimate democratization of data because it brings the power of data into the hands of everybody, not just the tech-savvy people. And this is where every single day, working with customers around the world, I'm seeing the real-world impact of what data can do for customers, the value it can bring, but also the pitfalls and potential dangers that AI can bring. And this is why I'm so proud of Databricks as a business, because we are here to help guide our customers on that journey,
Yeah.
to make sure that they get the most value. They are able to pivot and sort of, as AI evolves week on week, sometimes that they can very quickly get the benefit from anything new without getting stuck in what very quickly becomes legacy
Yeah.
in the industry.
Interesting. Well, that's quite the journey. How did your friends take it in the year 2000 when you were telling them that you were working on AI? I mean, they must have thought, what are you on about?
Actually, no, because if you look back, I mean, AI as a concept started in like the 50s and 60s, 1950s and 60s. And,
Okay.
and AI has always been this promise that, oh, it's just around the corner. And I think a lot of us have grown up with sci-fi that has like
Mm.
been able to illustrate what AI could be doing. But we had some really, like, we understood what we needed to do. We just didn't have the financial and practical skills and tools to bring it into reality. So when I talked to my friends back then, talking about, and not to show them, like, they were amazed, and they said, we've been waiting for this, finally it's here. And hand on heart, it probably wasn't, because what
Mm.
we developed back then was it was a lot of hard manual labor to do it, and growth wise, it probably wouldn't have been sustainable to branch out to other industries. And I think what we've seen with, I suppose, the advent of Alexa in the 2010s, but really now with Gen AI, we're
Mm.
seeing that it's so much easier now. We finally have the ability to go and create what we've been dreaming about for so many years. And I think that's also a danger, because people then think, oh, great, it's here, let's go and use it. But you need to know what you're doing in
Sure.
order to not get into trouble, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on sort of data democratization before. Like, what does that sort of mean to you, Thor, and why is that important for for AI success?
So I think data democratization is really bringing the power and value of data to everybody. And up through my career, data has been providing value to a few people, like the people who really understood technology, and
Mm.
the people and the companies who were able to pay to hire those people to bring value. I'm thinking like Google, Facebook, like they were able to get the value, but it was a very narrow few people who were able to benefit from this.
Mm.
Data democratization is about bringing this to regular human beings. And we're seeing this, we're working with retailers in the UK, where we are allowing like the people who stack shelves to use technology to have a chat interface to discuss about, like, what are the next day supply chain deliveries gonna bring? Are we what's the shelf availability going to be tomorrow and next week? Um, and add this to people who literally they might be able to use a mobile phone, but not much else. That's
And
democratization.
yeah, brilliant. And how are you working with those people then to make data more accessible across the business, not just for those data teams?
So I would say the challenge we have is that in order to deliver systems like that, real world usable systems, um, the data that is the foundation of everything needs to be in a good state. It needs to
Mm.
be good quality. It needs to be governed. It needs to be regulated. It needs to be audited. And all of that is not easy to do. We've been very lucky. Asta is one company we work with, and they had
Mm.
the luxury of having to reinvent their data platform after their like divorce from Walmart. So they were able to basically redesign their data platform from scratch, which they have been very open about. So they've talked about this very openly. And this has given them the ability to really go back to square one and design things with the future in mind. Most of our customers are not that fortunate. They have like 20-year-old legacy systems. They've got siloed data all across their business. They've got part on-prem, part in the cloud. When they think about data governance, they have a very narrow focus on that. And it really, data governance needs to be much more than just data governance. It needs to be model governance. It needs to be like access governance. It needs to be everything. And we are helping customers like move into like a future ready state. But it's not easy when half their data is locked away in proprietary systems that they really don't have any control over.
Okay. And how do you then manage that? So that sort of balance between democratization, but having, strong governance in place, being compliant. Like what steps are we taking here to, ensure that?
So I think I would love to say that Databricks can come in and do everything ourselves, but that can't happen because any of our customers are relying on a multitude of different systems. So partnerships is really the key here. That we in Databricks have always believed in having an open ecosystem, and I think that underlying everything is the real key to our success. Is that we don't lock anybody out. We are happy to form kind of the central core and the underlying data platform. We provide a scalable, very low cost way of managing that, but we will never get around with like the data being locked away and being embedded into other systems. And our partnerships that we're working with, clearly we work very closely with our cloud partners. So we have close partnerships with Azure, with AWS, with GCP. We also have close partnerships with a lot of our competitors, so Snowflake and stuff, because we need to have that open ecosystem. But the real power comes from in February, we announced a partnership with SAP. We have so much valuable data that up until recently has been locked away inside systems like SAP. They are prevented from providing real value to their customers. We are prevented. And opening up that ecosystem, providing the full collaboration between Databricks and SAP is going to completely revolutionize the access to data, the ability to learn from your data, both in terms of just day-to-day stuff, but certainly also training machine learning models, training agentic AI, and really bridging those systems to facilitate that.
Yeah, really good. And then just bringing it, I guess, back into that AI piece then. So let's think about customers as opposed to Databricks specifically. So what challenges or what data challenges do you think customers need to solve, before AI can, deliver value to them?
I think that the simple answer is data governance. Most of our customers have got a very fractured data governance model. So data that's stored in separate systems have different governance models that they've implemented. But also they need to see things like assets, machine learning models. They need to be governed very much the same way. So if you train a very advanced machine learning model, it's really important that you understand the life journey of that model. What data was it trained on? When was it trained? And you can only do that if you really include modeling as part of your governance strategy. We see data governance, having a single data governance model, as the key enabler for anything. And where you store your data is kind of secondary. As long as you've got a good single data governance of all your data, that's step one.
Okay, interesting. And is that hence where sort of Unity Catalog, when that was, announced and launched. That's kind of Databricks' answer to that challenge.
Absolutely. So this is nothing new. We knew that this was coming. When I joined Databricks 6.5 years ago, we didn't really have a data governance answer. But and I think we at that point were probably waiting for somebody else to solve the problem. And we have a lot of partners out there who have been trying to solve the problem. But I think about 4 years ago, we actually decided that this was something we needed to do. We couldn't wait around for somebody else to solve the problem, and then took a step back and said, right, okay, having a holistic view on what data governance is, let's start over and build it up. And this is very much where Unity Catalog came from. But we don't want to lock people in, which is why we've open sourced Unity Catalog, and we've made it. We're also within our version of the Unity Catalog, what we offer, it's an open API. We want to broaden this out, because if we only look at what's inside Databricks, that will never be enough.
Yeah. And then what about culture, mindset, people then? So we talk about getting organizations ready for AI, and we're talking about data governance here. What do we need to be doing in terms of people's mindset? What kind of people are required to be able to help organizations to take advantage of what's available to them?
Yeah, so I think we're faced with two opposing forces, because data governance is about opening up and removing silos, which means that more people will have access to more data. But as we've seen very recently in the news, we have Marks and Spencers and Co-op that have been the victim of horrendous cyber attacks. We also need to look at it the other way. Like, we can't just open up data to everybody. We really need to make sure that the right people have got access to the right data, and the balance between those two is what Unity Catalog is all about. It's about making sure that we can offer data access to the right people, and we can also prevent data access to the wrong people.
Sure. Okay. And in terms of gaining that confidence then from your customers and making sure people are comfortable with AI, what steps do you take there, Thor?
AI is, in many cases, very new to our customers. They probably, again, knew that it was coming for many years, but they until about 2 years ago, they didn't really know how to prepare for it. And even probably a lot of our customers, even today, are still not entirely sure how they can prepare for it. We have always been known at Databricks as people who really understood machine learning and AI. So we frequently have customers coming to us to ask for help in terms of, like, what should we be thinking about, both in terms of access, governance, but also regulation, potentially also like ethics, because that's another very big thing. And we have hired some fantastic people, some of them on my team, who are really, really good at giving that holistic view to make sure that we guide our customers through this very hilly landscape of how to get from A to B. And I think it's always going to be individual. Like, each customer will have very, very individual requirements and a starting point. And I'm every single day, I'm amazed by the people on my team who can go out and work through that and make sure that we safely and ethically can deliver solutions within AI that actually matters to the customer, that brings value. A lot of our customers 2 years ago came to us and said, my boss has told me we need to do some AI stuff. That's obviously that's the wrong way to look at it. We need to go and look at the business, look at what is it that they need, and how can these solutions bring value and benefit day-to-day like cash flow, day-to-day like lives, humans, customers, and this should be where people start, and they are absolutely doing that now.
Yeah. And how do you define ethical AI then? What's, just for people listening, and what does that mean? Who's responsible for ensuring it?
Ethical AI is a very, very big topic. My colleague, Lexi Hassan, is probably our UK expert on this. I'll try to do her justice. Ethical AI is to make sure that when you create an AI system of any kind, you try your very best to remove biases from a system, and you allow inclusivity. So that means that it should be something that is open to everybody, regardless of who they are. It should not rely on any kind of particular like information around gender or ethnicity. It really needs to be like ethically done. But is it possible to remove all biases? No. And that's what I'm saying. You can't just assume that you've now solved the problem. This is an ongoing thing. You need to monitor this. So when you've got a model, you need to assume that there are still biases in there, and you need to continually evaluate and improve. But in terms of ethics, it's also simple things like if you've got a chatbot on a customer-facing website, make sure that the customer is aware that this is not a human. This is something that it's an automated system, so that you don't end up falsifying an experience. So I think that there are lots and lots of ways that you can do this. But one thing that I'm really passionate about is AI today is expensive.
Yeah.
Training a foundation model will cost millions. And what I also want to do is make sure that we can allow smaller businesses equal access to this new technology. And it shouldn't be something for just the very wealthy businesses. So that's another part of ethical AI, where I think it needs to be available to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And how are you doing that, Thor? What's the process there?
So I think early on, we decided that we didn't want to go into the selecting a particular horse, as in a foundation model, and go with them. We have always been an open platform, and we have the luxury of saying, we don't want to lock you in. Like, if you want to use OpenAI, use OpenAI. If you want to use Anthropic, use that. A couple of months ago, when DeepSeek came out of China, we had DeepSeek available the very next day as an option. And I think allowing people to very quickly pick and choose, but more importantly, also compare. So when they create a model, they can then compare the one that is based on OpenAI and the one that's based on DeepSeek, so they can find out which one is best for me. We also provide tooling to, first of all, allow more real-time updates. So it's called RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, where a foundation model that was trained months ago is able to take into account data that was generated yesterday by essentially doing sort of a lookup, a search into real-time information, and then be able to augment the generated reply based on this new information. But also we have what we now call an agentic framework that will help our customers continuously evaluate like models that they have trained, compare them, ensure that we understand what biases are in there, provide sandbox environments to make sure that agents can't go completely rogue. And again, this is not going to stop. Like these are evolutions that keep evolving. Every single week, something new comes out. And by continuously being an open platform, we're able to bring in the latest and greatest, not locking our customers in, and making it as cheap and accessible for our customers as possible.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time. I would be interested to get your take on, or advice, I suppose, on what today's data engineers or today's engineers need to be focusing on and upskilling in to keep current and keep, to keep ahead of the curve?
I think I have that problem. My middle son is potentially looking at going into a computer science degree, and I am in two minds because I want to give him the best advice, but I also don't want to send him on a journey where he eventually is going to be unsuccessful. And it's really important to try to see what AI is and what it isn't. The challenge there is that it changes every day. Like tomorrow, I will have a different answer, and that it really is about staying up to date. I think there's a lot of hype out there around AI coming along and taking away our jobs. AI will absolutely make some jobs redundant. That is a given. But I see AI as a tool to make the right person more productive and more effective. So if you are able to continuously upskill yourself in those tools, you will continue to be valuable. And in many cases, we are removing some of the more tedious parts of the job. So if you are going into computer science, a lot of the tedious, I need to start a program, and the first 2 days of this project is going to be writing the basic foundation code that I've written 100 times, but I need to do it again. All of that will most likely go away, which is actually pretty good. But I would say whether you're a data engineer, you're a data scientist, you're a business analyst, or you're an AI engineer, if you can see the AI tooling as an opportunity for you to become more productive and continue to keep up to date with that, you're on a pretty good path.
Brilliant. Okay, great. And then just to kind of conclude then, Thor, what sort of use cases are you seeing out there where AI is, delivering real value? What have you experienced yourself?
So I think, again, AI is many things. We've been doing AI since before I joined Databricks. And we've got the traditional machine learning models that will do sort of normal sort of prediction. We've got artificial intelligence models that are potentially based on neural networks that will do more advanced and less explainable type predictions. And then we've got the Gen AI that is really about working with symbols. Like you turn your input data into something that's symbolic, and you can then generate the equivalent amount of symbols and turn that into something that is real world, so like human language or images. I think where we're seeing the real value, again, is we are enabling regular human beings that are not computer literate to be able to do stuff that normally they would have needed to have a whole team of IT experts to do. And they can do it in 5 minutes. They can play with things. We're seeing in Databricks, we've got a product called Genie and AI BI, where we're allowing people to basically talk to their data, query, investigate, and actually get answers. But this is also, we also see, as I said, like a store manager will, for a retailer, will come along and start the morning by having a chat about the supply chain and shelf availability to find out what should they action now, what should they action in the next hour to make sure that they don't run out of bread tomorrow. But we're going way beyond that as well. We have another retailer where we are looking at theft. So they estimate that they have, like, say, 50 million pounds worth of profit, but on an annual basis they lose about 200 million pounds worth of goods to theft. So those numbers are staggering.
Crazy.
And if we could find a way to help them prevent, maybe not in real time, we're not talking about like robots that will go and catch thieves, but just if they can understand the patterns that's involved in theft from stores using video analytics, if we could just prevent 10% of those thefts by making clever choices, they could like double their profit very, very quickly, without doing anything else.
Yeah.
And those type of analytics is really what I think we're going to see real world, like human value being generated over the coming years.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. There's so many different cases for it, isn't there? I was chatting to someone in the insurance sector, and they were having a challenge around fraudulent claims. So people were using AI-generated images of car crashes to submit a claim, and then they were trying to build an AI solution internally to then try and understand which images were created by AI and which images were legitimate. It's almost like an AI battle off, really. So, yeah, lots to.
And I would say this is then the dark side. Like with any new technology, there will be positives and negatives, and that is like when we were able to harness atomic power, it could be used for generating electricity, or it could be used to blow up whole cities.
Yeah.
And this is where understanding it and being able to democratize it will help with that. But the problem is somebody in a basement in Russia could potentially have a significant impact on US elections. This is a reality, and it's something that we can't shy away from. We need to talk about it. We need to find clever ways of, as you say, detect it, work around it to prevent the negative impact while still having the positive impact. I mean, our CEO, Ali Ghodsi, had many, many times talked about the amazing benefits that we have from AI in terms of medical advances. And this is really like every single aspect of our lives can be massively positively impacted by AI. But we need to deal with reality because we also have the negative side, and we can't shy away from it.
Totally. And then Thor, just to kind of summarize then, we're talking about helping organizations then to be ready for this wave of AI that's coming. Just to summarize from what we've discussed, how best can they prepare themselves and give themselves the best chance of success?
Step one is data quality and data governance. If you have poor data quality, you will have poor AI results. So step one is to make sure that you really are tight on training and having good quality data available for training. Also, don't just jump into it without thinking about the ethics. The sooner you think about the ethical parts of it, in terms of bias, in terms of accessibility, that is key to get right before you even start that journey. And then make sure that you engage. We have a whole wonderful partner ecosystem of lots and lots of SIs out there who can help you on that journey. Like, you're not on your own. You don't have to just do this. And if you are not sure, then give us a ring. We'd be very happy to have a conversation and just see how we can link what we could do to the real, genuine business value that really needs to come from this.
Brilliant. Well, Thor, thank you so much for your time. Really great to have you on the show. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I look forward to continuing to collaborate with you in the future.
Thank you very much. And it was great fun. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Thor. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.